10 News at 11 starts right now.
Stop firing these deputies at stop there.
45 seconds of horrific shooting.
Bam, 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 bam.
He was just randomly shooting. He was just picking off things like target practice.
Hours of desperate panic, utter fear, and chaos. Tonight, special coverage of the mass shooting at the Fort Lauderdale airport.
5 people killed, 8 initially wounded. Tonight, we've learned 37 more people were hurt in the chaos. In the past hour, the FBI said it is not ruling out terrorism.
Now, in the next few moments, you'll see and hear from witnesses and see the actual panic that happened inside the terminal. Also, hear what investigators are saying about the man accused of launching a sneak attack on dozens of innocent people. First, let's take you live to the airport. A heavy police presence there. You can see passengers who are still stuck there as the investigation continues. Flights are not flying in or out of the airport tonight.
The airport is located along Florida's east coast in Broward County. It's about 4 hours away from Tampa Bay.
Immediately after the shooting, witnesses posted dramatic video of the aftermath on social media. It shows people on the ground tending to those that were wounded.
Some of the wounded found shelter outside while they waited for help, while hundreds ran for safety on the tarmac and airport roads, taking shelter near cars and up against buildings.
Everybody took off and they said
a shooter.
He, like I say, just came to the door, did not yell, did not scream, just started shooting. We thought at first it was firecrackers. Then we realized it was gunshots, and by that time people were yelling and screaming and frantically trying to get out of any door that they could, or hide under chairs, hide behind their luggage, or anything else to get out of the line of fire.
I heard a lady yell for help, and then I just saw people running, and I just ran.
and the shooting started in this building, and immediately it was mass chaos, people running by. It was hard to decipher exactly what was happening. I consider myself aware of most things, but this was really hard to figure out what was happening.
This photo shows the gun investigators believed was used in the attack. The motivation for that shooting remains unknown.
Now here's what we've learned about the suspected gunman. His name is Esteban Santiago Ruiz. He is 26 years old. Now he was born in New Jersey. His family is from Puerto Rico, where he served in the Puerto Rico National Guard. Now he went on to serve with the Alaska National Guard. The Pentagon says he was discharged after going AWOL several times. His family says, quote, he lost his mind after a tour in Iraq. Now, this past November, Santiago walked into an FBI office and claimed his mind was being controlled by the CIA and that he was being forced to watch videos for ISIS. He was sent straight to a psychiatric hospital. Back in 2011, he was investigated for child pornography but never charged. His family says he recently became a father. Well, today he was reportedly on a red-eye flight out of Alaska, stopped in Minnesota when he got into some kind of argument on board. Upon landing at Fort Lauderdale International Airport, he allegedly went to the bathroom, loaded a handgun he had in his checked baggage, and began firing. He then laid down and waited to be arrested by police. Tonight, investigators say right now they believe he acted alone.
Most of the shooting victims in today's shooting were taken to Broward Health Medical Center. A doctor there says none of the patients who arrived at the hospital died. 5 of those patients were trauma alerts, and everyone is stable. Well, tonight we have team coverage for you. We have 3 crews in South Florida and 1 at our own Tampa International Airport. We begin tonight with 10 News reporter Jennifer Titus live for us tonight at the Fort Lauderdale Airport. And Jen, is everything still closed down, shut down like a button?
And Reggie, it looks like it'll be that way until about 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Personnel are actually still working on removing people who were at the airport during this tragedy. But one man we spoke with who was diabetic couldn't make it that long and was rushed to the hospital a mile down the road with so many others.
Had we been a little earlier or a little later, we could have been standing right there, and a little later we could end up at another airport.
Ronnie Katu is one of the many victims rushed to Broward Health Medical Center after a shooting at the Fort Lauderdale Airport. He had a diabetic attack while waiting on a plane. He knows it could have been worse.
It's terrifying that the possibility that that we could have been right in harm's way.
8 of the victims at the hospital were injured during the shooting.
You look like chaos, but it's controlled.
Doctors say, unfortunately, they train for tragedies like this, and they were prepared for each victim who was brought in.
I heard some screaming, some crying for other family members and see if their family members were all right.
This man who was in the waiting room says it's something he wasn't prepared for.
It's crazy. Like, if the world comes down to this, like, it's crazy.
Governor Scott also at the hospital speaking with survivors and hospital staff.
The first thing I did was make sure I thanked the people that took care of the patients. So I did that. I walked to the hospital and thanked them. I talked to some patients, and they're in good spirits. They, this is clearly a traumatic experience for them.
Governor Scott says what's important is that what happened today is something that will never be tolerated in this state.
Whoever is responsible, we'll do everything we can to hold them accountable. We will never let anybody off the hook. We'll hold them accountable to the full extent of the law.
And back out here live, now it's been 6 months since the Pulse attack and then this. Governor Scott was asked about gun control, but he says this is not the time for politics. This is the time to figure out why this happened, mourn the lives that were lost, and pray for the families affected. For now, we're live at the Fort Lauderdale International Airport. Jennifer Titus, 10 News, WTSP.
All right, thank you, Jen.
Certainly our thoughts and prayers also going out to those families and those victims.
Definitely. Well, many of the passengers who had been stuck at the airport for hours are finally getting to head back home. Yanni Rodriguez picks up the story from Port Everglades, where passengers are being bused.
This is the moment a lot of family and passengers have been waiting for, the moment when they are reunited with their family members. As you're seeing right now, they're actual passengers getting off those buses that came from Fort Lauderdale International Airport. We are on Port Everglades. They are headed to Terminal 4. That is where many passengers will be reunited with their family members. As you can see, there is a long line of cars of both family members waiting to pick those passengers up, as well as several buses with passengers inside of them. Again, as I mentioned, headed to Terminal 4, where they're eagerly waiting to be reunited with their family.
Yeah, she landed at 1:45, and they've been sitting on the tarmac for the last, 6-7 hours. And now they're saying that they're picking them up with a bus, and they're driving them to over here, Port Everglades, Terminal 2.
We spoke to several passengers who tell us despite the long waits, they are simply happy to be home and safe. I'm Hani Rodriguez, 10 News, WTSP.
Now, the port was also temporarily closed today following the shooting, impacting cruise ship traffic there. And this afternoon, President-elect Donald Trump tweeted about the shooting. He said he was, quote, monitoring the terrible situation, end of quote, and that he spoke to Governor Scott. He said thoughts and prayers for all. Stay safe.
Taking a closer look now at exactly where that shooting took place. 10 News reporter Garen Flowers joins us live now from Fort Lauderdale International Airport. And Garen, you know this area well. You grew up down there.
Absolutely, Dion. I grew up just 15 minutes away from Fort Lauderdale Airport. It's about 5 to 10 minutes from the beach, and it's a popular area. It brings in a lot of traffic for folks that travel to Miami, obviously Fort Lauderdale, and also the Palm Beach area. So that's why there's such a large concentration of people that funnel to this area, which definitely makes it a hot spot for something like this to happen. The Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport has 4 large terminals. The gunman flew in and opened fire in Terminal 2, which serves Delta flights. Crowds of people rushed throughout the airport. Eyewitnesses saying chaos also erupted in Terminal 1 and 3 following the shooting. The tarmac is where lots of travelers were stranded in and outside of planes as SWAT teams searched the airport. And about 5 minutes north is where victims were rushed to Broward Health Medical Center. The popular airport, known for its great location in South Florida, is now a place of mourning and prayer. And again, make sure you check those flights. The airport is expected to open at 5 a.m. in the morning. We'll continue to bring you as much information as possible, but that is the time that they have set right now for you. But if that changes, we will definitely make sure to update you online and also on television. For now, live in Fort Lauderdale, I'm Garen Flowers, 10 News, WTSP.
Now, the shooting in Fort Lauderdale is impacting security and operations tonight at Tampa International Airport. 10 News reporter Kendra Conlon joins us live from there. And Kendra, certainly a rough day for those travelers.
Absolutely, Dion. I can tell you that passengers know that their hassles are nothing compared to the heartbreak happening in Fort Lauderdale. Still, many people have had a very long day. 7 flights, both U.S. and international, heading to Fort Lauderdale had to be diverted here to Tampa. And take a look at the big board. You can see there are delays and cancellations. Airlines are trying to get people to their destinations. They're also seeing a lot more security.
I lose my time here.
Some passengers can't hold back frustration.
You give me a new ticket to the New York back?
Canceled, delayed, and diverted flights stranding hundreds.
As we were about to land, they said that there's a security problem in Fort Lauderdale. There was complete silence. You could hear a pin drop.
They learned of the deadly shooting once on the ground, knowing they could have been there.
I'm really scared.
Hours after they should have landed in Fort Lauderdale.
To talk to the buses.
Many boarded buses to ride there. With an increased threat level, passengers are seeing more officers patrolling the airport with assault rifles out. Border Patrol, police, deputies, and canines searching arriving baggage. Passengers say it's needed.
Definitely more security, yes. I mean, anybody can just get their bags off, grab whatever is in it, and obviously cause chaos.
TIA tells me there's also security you can't see. I asked if the shooting will prompt changes securing the unsecured areas like ticketing and baggage.
Security is something that we always take under review, and we always, as an airport, as any one of our airports in the country, always looking to improve.
And of course, the bad guys, they're learning, they're watching. Where they're successful, you're going to see more of this.
And that's why our security expert goes on to say we cannot rely on officers' actions alone here. We all have to be on alert. Live at TIA, Kendra Conlon, 10 News, WTSP.
And we will continue to stay on top of this developing story, continuing coverage ahead and also online at WTSP.com.
And I'm 10 weather meteorologist Kate Wenzel. We are tracking a powerful winter storm taking shape across the southeast United States, and you may have already heard some thunder tonight. More on the way through Saturday morning, and then a big change in our temperatures. I'll lay out the details coming up in just a few minutes.
And let's take a live look now tonight at the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, where you can see there traffic moving along just fine. All lanes open in both directions. Earlier tonight, though, the bridge was closed because of those high winds. But again, all clear, at least for now.